What is going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Somewhat Supernatural. Actually, our first continuation episode of Somewhat Supernatural. Last time we were here, we were talking about unveiling the secrets of the exorcism. We only got halfway through. There was so much information that we had to cut it short because we did pretty long episodes. So we're back to continue where we left off last episode. And with me, we have the host of the Recycled Corn podcast, the one and only Benjamin De Leon.
How's it going? Buddy?
It's going, man. And also our dear friend and host of 50 States of Terror, Mr. Anthony Diaz. How's it going, bud?
What up, man? What up?
You know, just here. So what have you guys been up to? It's been a while. I think we did this back in June. And it is now July. I think it was almost about a month ago that we recorded.
It was
a
month.
Yeah. I think it was like June 9th or something. It might have been June 9th.
Yeah. I almost died. I caught some freaking kind of respiratory infection. They said it was pneumonia, but they weren't sure exactly what it was. And I'm still recovering off of it. So if I sound weird and blame Sandra because I got it from her and she didn't go to the doctor when I told her to. So.
Telling you, bro, she's trying to kill you.
I mean, I can't blame her.
We've told you time and time again. But no, well, that's good, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. We did put a hiatus on Recycled Corn. It's been about, 3 weeks? You did put out an episode, though. Tell us about that.
So I did an episode with TJ from the Nearly Dead. She's the lead singer. Incredible freaking vocalist. Classically trained in the traditional styles of music, whatever. She was working I think at Journey, she said, and she fell in love with pop punk and decided that's what she was going to do. And I had heard part of her story before, and I was like, you know what, I got to at least throw it out there, see if she would be on the show. And she's like, you know what, sure, why not? Because I've been such a big fan of theirs for so many years that, she trusted me. So we had her on and asked her some really, you remember the type of interview questions that I like to ask.
I was actually talking about that today with Kaylee because I was over at Anthony's house with my daughter and my fiance.
Yeah, while I was at work.
Yeah.
While Anthony was at work. I felt bad. I was sitting there and I'm like, I miss Anthony. When's Anthony get out of work? And then I was like, oh, I'm going to take a picture and let him know that I'm here.
I know. I was all like, man, that was so rude.
I was so angry. I was so upset. I was like, they're all at my house.
But no, we were talking about that. And I told Kaylee because we were talking about, because I told her, when we do Recycled Corn, it's just like us getting on there and basically, just shooting the shit and hyping each other up. That's our man time. She was like, well, I was going to jump on, but since it's your man time. And I'm like, well, Ben, just did an interview style episode of Recycled Corn. I was like, so maybe I was going to throw the idea to you. Maybe you should do that also as kind of like a sub show to Recycled Corn, to where we still have the main show where it's us, just shooting the shit, but you also have your interview style podcast thrown in there as well.
Well, actually, I was going to throw that to both of you guys because I was thinking about, I want to do my own interview style podcast episodes, whatever. But also to throw that at you all. Also, if you all want to do that kind of stuff on the Recycled Corn, you're more than welcome to do that. Or if you want to, like, hey, this person I think is fascinating, I want to be there with you so we can both interview this person. I'm down with that too. So
yeah. I mean, that'd be pretty cool to do. Want to give a quick shout out to Joseph in the chat. Also, Big Ed, how's it going, buddy? 2 of the members of All Content Entertainment.
Oh, nice. Damn.
What about you, Anthony? What have you been up to, man? I haven't talked to you since. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been about 2-3 weeks, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Let's see. Work. Then some time off, then work. And then I took maybe a couple hours here and there, and then I worked again. And then there was this one thing what was it? At work.
Have you tried working?
I mean, I don't know if I'm ready for it though. the transition from work to work. I mean, I don't know if I'm ready for that transition.
You know what I found works really good for me? Not working.
I wish I could
Then
so
there's
badly.
working in French is le work.
Le work, or in Spanish, el worko,
El
Oh,
Worko, El Trabajado.
el trabajado.
no, I already ate.
How are things going on 50 States of Terror?
Not too bad. The month of June was pretty much just like a get back to the groove of things again month. Um, a lot of things are going on around the house. You probably already know.
Yes.
Yeah, some exciting news is coming down the pipe. Let's see. After I did the last episode, uh, honestly, it's just been just one thing after another, and I finally recorded in my car the next one, just to get something out there again, and hopefully I'll have that plus narrative quests should be up and running the next couple of days as well.
Nice. Hell yeah. That's good, man. Stay busy. Stay busy with things that keep you happy, not just work. So on my end, what's changed since last time? Oh, I got engaged.
Yeah, and you didn't tell nobody about
I didn't
it.
tell nobody.
I didn't tell anybody because I didn't know I was gonna do it. It just fucking happened. The time
Yeah,
felt
right.
right.
Yeah,
And
right. You're just like, you know what? No one's here. Bane ain't here. Let's do it.
no. Honestly, it wasn't even anything that I was planning on doing until around Halloween time. But it just felt right, man. Like we were having a good time, and I don't know, it's something just overcame me, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask her to marry me. And she said yes, thankfully, because if she would have said no, I probably would be crying right now.
It'd be funny if she's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Well, no, I mean, and that's kind of what she said at first. Like, she didn't say it like that, but she was like, "Are you serious? Like, are you serious right now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fucking serious."
Well, okay, I got a question for you though.
What's
'Cause
up?
I saw the video, and
Mhm.
it was like one of the first things I saw when I woke up in the morning. And why was there no need of floor action?
So, for one, she doesn't want a ring. She's adamant she does not want a ring. So, getting on the whole knee thing, I feel like you have to give the ring. You know what I mean? And so, and at that, I'm not kneeling down on the Molly's floor, bro. Let's be real. Like,
You have no idea what's been down there.
I love the bar I work at, you know, and I hate that I did it at the bar, but I mean that's kind of our thing, you know what I mean? We're not
Yeah.
traditional with anything, so
Well, see, it was when Sandra's like, how come did he say anything to you that he was going to do it? I was like, no. She goes, well, next time you tell them that they better freaking invite us when they go out. Not that we will go out, but
yeah, because you're not gonna fucking go anyways.
No,
I've
she was
invited you out
actually like
countless times.
that weekend. She wanted to do something,
Yeah,
and then like I said, it was already. I was like, man, I don't think anyone's doing anything. Scuba's at a show, so I don't think he's gonna be at Molly's. And then next, like I said, I see that video.
yeah.
But
It was a good time. It was a good time. But
yeah, I'm happy for you, man.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
yeah,
Appreciate
very
that.
very much
Appreciate
so.
that.
She makes
Well,
you a better person.
She does, and I told her that. She sent me a text message the other day, and she was like, you know, thank you for being who you are. And I'm like, well, I'm who I am because of you. Like, you made me a better person.
Yeah,
Like,
you're a dick before.
I mean, I'm still a dick, but whatever. I'm a
Just just lesser of her.
I'm a lesser dick.
Let's girth.
Yes,
More
less girth.
substance.
Yes. So let's go ahead and jump into this, fellas. I'm sure you still have the notes from last time. So where we left off, we were coming into the 20th century with exorcisms. So in the 20th century, the case of Anneliese Michel, a German woman who underwent a series of exorcisms in the 1970s, brought renewed public interest to this ancient practice. Her story became the basis for the iconic film, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Have either of you seen that movie before?
Yes.
Of course.
So that correct me if I'm wrong, that's the one that shows the scientific shit, and then like it'll show what it could have possibly been medically. I haven't seen it in a while.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen it in
yeah,
a while either.
yeah. It's been a while for me too. Yeah, I believe that's what it was because it was that Exorcist wound up getting convicted for the death,
for her death. Yeah.
and then but then they decided to do it as time served already. So the Exorcist got convicted, but then released immediately because they were behind jail for or behind bars for so long.
So Annalise was a young German woman who became widely known for her tragic story involving alleged demonic possession and subsequent exorcisms. Exorcisms, more than one. So here are the details of Annalise's life and the events that unfolded. Anthony?
Let's see. Early life and health conditions. Annalise Michael was born September 21st, 1952, in Bavaria, Germany. She grew up in a devoutly Catholic family and was described as a sincere and religious individual. During her teenage years, she began experiencing health problems, including seizures and hallucinations.
So, I mean, back in those days, so it's her teenager, so probably in the 60s, 70s, probably the 70s is when she was a teenager. She started
Uh,
having
1960, 1966, she would have been already a teenager.
okay. So things back then aren't as advanced as they are today. So, it's easy to see why people would think something of that nature is possession. But now, we know nowadays that there's medical reasons as to why some of these things occur. So Ben, go ahead and read about the diagnosis.
So diagnosis of possession. In 1973, at the age of 20, Annalise's condition worsened, leading her to seek medical and psychiatric help. However, her symptoms persisted, and she and her family began to believe that she was not suffering from a medical condition, but rather was possessed by demons. They sought the assistance of the Catholic Church.
Hmm. So over the course of about 10 months between 1975 and 1976, Annalise underwent a series of exorcisms performed by two priests, Father Arnold Rentz and Father Ernst Alt. The exorcisms were based on the Roman ritual, a liturgical text for exorcisms in the Catholic Church. So, if you want to hear more about that, you can listen to the episode before this because we did touch on that. Um, so, like I said, there's a podcast that I listen to called the Exorcist Files, and they talk about how an exorcism isn't the way we see it in the movies. It's not a one and done type of thing. Sometimes it is, but there's a lot of times where it is more than one, sometimes up to 12 times, even more, that these rituals are having to be performed. And they're not easy, especially on the person that is possessed.
Right.
It takes its toll on its body, on their body. Um, and then could you imagine if it actually is a possession, just the struggle that's going on inside of your body, you there, but not being able to control anything and knowing that there's something else in your body? That just seems terrifying to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been watching this show on Discovery Plus. Something about exorcisms, like the Legion of Exorcisms or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they have these different exorcists talking about different cases that they had. And man, some of the stories that they show will talk about how they had to do multiple exorcisms on somebody, just to weaken the demon for it to want to leave on its own.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can only imagine going through something like that. Thank God we haven't had to have anything, happen to us, being paranormal investigators. So,
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like that's kind of one of the things that comes with the territory, especially if you don't know what you're doing when you go into these locations. You run the risk of, something either possessing you or oppressing you when you go.
yeah,
So,
following you home.
yeah, there are tapes. So throughout the exorcism sessions, audio recordings were made, which is very, very weird because they state strictly that you are not supposed to record these rituals. So the
Right.
fact that they made tapes, that's kind of what screwed them over in court. So audio recordings were made capturing the distressing and often disturbing sounds of Annalise during the alleged possessions. These tapes later became crucial evidence in the legal proceedings that followed. So way before this case, and I want to say this is probably one of the only cases that was brought in the forefront. And I think around this, after this, is when they said absolutely no recording. Do not record anything. Do not videotape anything. Now, the reasoning the church gives is that they don't want people to see you in that state. They don't want to show that demons have that kind of power over humans.
Right.
What I think is this case right here is what set that precedence forward, because they got in a lot of trouble for the things that they did. You want to hit us with that next one, Anthony?
Excuse me. Okay, deteriorating health and death. Annalise's health continued to decline, both physically and mentally, during the exorcisms. She reportedly refused medical treatment and relied solely on the exorcisms to heal her. Her parents and the two priests were convinced that she would be cured through the exorcisms alone. Unfortunately, on July 1st, 1976, Annalise Michael passed away due to malnutrition and dehydration. She was only 23 years old.
Damn, that's sad. But I mean, I like I said, I don't know what happened during this. I've never heard the tapes. I would like to. I would like to hear these tapes. But I wonder if, I mean, were they trying to feed her? Were they depriving her of sustenance?
I vaguely remember. I think what was happening is when they were trying to feed her, she would immediately throw it up.
Okay.
Like whatever she could keep down, she kept down. But like the most of it, it was just like regurgitating it back.
Yeah.
And I think the Catholic Church doesn't want anybody to watch or hear tapes concerning exorcism because it might influence the beast to come to you now.
Yeah, and they do tell you that, and that's why a lot of very religious people won't even watch horror films,
right,
because they feel that it is inviting that evil into your home. Now, if you've ever been to my house or if you know me personally, that's all I ever fucking have on TV. I'm okay so far.
So far.
So far.
Yeah. Hold on,
I mean, you say you're okay so far. I mean, there could be an argument, the other way, but
yes. Don't talk to my fiance about that. Go ahead and read the next one, Ben.
Annalise's death sparked public attention and raised questions about the responsibility of those involved in her care. Her parents and the two priests were charged with negligent homicide. In 1978, they faced trial, and both priests were found guilty of manslaughter, while Annalise's parents were declared mentally unfit for trial and exempt from punishment. The court considered that their actions had contributed to her tragic demise.
So what was wrong with them that they were found mentally unfit?
Probably the hyper-religion.
Religious zealots.
Probably.
Yes,
Probably.
indeed. So the case of Annalise Michael has generated ongoing debates and discussions. Some view it as an example of the dangers of religious fanaticism and the absence of proper medical care for mental health issues. Others interpret it as a genuine case of demonic possession and emphasize the spiritual aspects of her experiences. The story has been an inspiration for numerous books, documentaries, and films, like we said, including The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It is important to note that the case of Annalise is highly controversial, and opinions about the nature of her condition and the appropriateness of the exorcisms performed on her vary greatly. The Catholic Church, while acknowledging the reality of demonic possession, also encourages a balanced approach that incorporates medical and psychological evaluation in cases of suspected possessions, but not until after this case.
Right.
Now they push, okay, if you have the proof that there was something that may be a possession, we will send a priest, but a doctor or somebody that is a fit medical professional has to be in attendance of that exorcism.
See, that's. I mean, and to get somebody to go along with that in the medical profession, it's not going to be easy because they're kind of putting their reputation on the line by saying like, okay, I agree that this is not psychological or some other physical medical condition. They're saying, okay, it's now it's in the realm of supernatural, so I will sign off on this exorcism, whatever. So
Yeah, and that's why I think nowadays, like I said, it's a lot. You don't hear about it as much because there's they can do brain scans now to see if there's something wrong. There's all different kinds of medical tests that people go through, and hey, if something's wrong, let's try this medication, let's try that. But I'm sure there's cases where none of that shit works, and
that's why
where do you
you
go?
need to hurry up and make a PKE meter. I mean, just real quick,
Yeah,
check them.
stupid. You're so
Picking up or
stupid.
dropping off.
All right, so now we're moving to Japan. Anthony.
While exorcisms are predominantly associated with religious contexts, other cultures have their own unique approaches. For example, in Japan, Shinto priests perform rituals called ohariai to purify spaces and individuals from negative spirits. Similarly, within the African diaspora, practices such as Haitian voodoo and Cuban santeria, santeria, incorporate ceremonies known as cleansings to rid individuals of spiritual disturbances.
Ben, let's see if you can say that word as beautiful as Anthony did.
Oharai is a traditional purification ritual performed in Shinto, the indigenous religion of Japan. It is a ceremony aimed at cleansing impurities, warding off evil spirits, and restoring spiritual harmony. The term oharai translates to great purification or exorcism in English. The practice of oharai dates back centuries and is rooted in the belief that impurities, both physical and spiritual, can disrupt the balance and harmony in individuals, communities, and sacred spaces. The ritual is typically performed by Shinto priests who play a central role in conducting the ceremony.
So it's like it's essentially a cleansing, not just of a person, but of your home. Maybe your car has bad juju. We just got a comment in the chat. Where'd it go? It says, to be honest, I've seen it. My grandparents do that, and I believe. So I have seen long time ago. I had to have been, maybe 5 or 6 years old. And I remember the neighborhood that I grew up in, there's a small Catholic church there. People would always come to my grandmother's house, and I never knew what the hell they were doing or why they would come and see my grandmother. Mm-hmm. But I was always sent to the room when she had people over. I didn't think anything of it. What she was doing was cleansings and, with the egg and other things that I don't really understand, or I didn't understand back then. And one night, the father from our church came over, and he had somebody with him, and I had never seen this kid before, and he had to have been, he was a teenager because he was older than me. And my grandmother sent me to my room and said, no matter what you hear, don't come out. And for about 2 hours, that kid was screaming in our kitchen. And it sounded weird. Like it wasn't just like a normal scream. And it wasn't like he was making his voice do that. It sounded like something else completely was there. And I really don't remember exactly what was said. There's a long time ago. But I do know that in my heart, I know that that kid had a possession, and my grandma helped that priest.
Yeah.
She won't talk about it.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. So when, it was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I hadn't heard from my grandma. So I sent my ex-wife over there because she lives not too far from my grandma. I was at work, and she goes over and nobody's there. And I remember it was really, really cold outside. She goes and she's looking for my grandma, doesn't see my grandma, can't find her. So she's about to leave. Well, then she hears a noise in my grandma's bedroom. So she goes and she looks, and my grandmother is under her sewing machine with a chair on top of her and a whole bunch of other stuff on top of her. So we call the ambulance. She goes to the hospital, and she's like out of her mind. Like the stuff she's saying, she's not making any sense. She was seeing things that weren't there. She was talking to people that weren't there. And I've never seen my grandmother like this ever. What they said was she had pneumonia, and pneumonia affects elderly people different than what, it does us younger people. So that's why she was out of her mind. That's what they told us. When my grandmother came to and came back, she said she was walking to the front door. She went to lock the door because she was going to go to get ready for bed.
Mhm.
She felt somebody lift her up and throw her into the hallway.
Oh, wow.
My grandmother does not lie about things. She also stated that there were a woman and a child in the house that were taking care of her because there was something else in the house with her. She never saw what it was that threw her into the hallway, but whatever that was also drug her into her room.
Damn.
So I don't know if that was because of the help she gave the priest all those years ago or what, but I 100% believe that something attacked my grandmother that day.
Yeah. Well, Sandra will tell me stories about what happened when she was growing up with her grandma. And you can see, like, first off, the sincerity in her eyes. And secondly, the fear and respect that she has for the things that happened. And that's why, like, a lot of times I'll see, like, let's say a doll that looks haunted or something. And I'll be like, hey, babe, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to bring it home. No, you're not. It leaves no room for discussion. She's just like, this just ain't happening. She's like, I love you, but no.
See, and that's why, I mean, I as much as I hate when we do investigations and, going places by myself and shit, I still kind of push it when I come home because I bring home things that I probably shouldn't fucking bring home. As far as like little artifacts and things that I find, or if something's like draws me to it and we're at a location, I'm inclined to bring it home.
Yeah, I've told you so many times you shouldn't fucking do that.
I know. And now the human skull that I have in my living room now,
Well, that's why I gave you that thing that I made to, try to ward off some of that crap.
Well, it's in the cabinet.
Yeah.
I have it. It's in there
It's doing a good
with all
job.
the other stuff. And that's, there's the cross on there, and then I have other things in there for protection and stuff. But
So was she ever referred to as a curandera?
yes,
She was.
yes,
Okay.
she was. And I didn't understand what that meant until, of course, I was older. And so I always wanted to learn these things from her, but I was told by her that it was a strictly, I wasn't a girl, so I couldn't learn it.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. I was just about to say
from them.
They're
I can learn, but I would have to learn from a male.
Yeah.
From a curandero. So I don't know any curanderos, so I just started doing research, and and there's a lot of crazy stuff that these curanderos do and curanderas do, and I 100% believe in it.
Yeah.
Like some of the things that they've done, like there's no way that it's fake. Like there's no way. And like I said, I've seen her do things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's still practiced like in a lot of like mainstream Catholic churches around Texas. It's still practiced here.
Yep.
Like it's extremely interesting too, because I believe that I believe my grandmother was also a curandera.
Yeah.
But didn't really say much about it because she did all that stuff, but like nothing that extreme.
Yeah.
See, Sandra said that she didn't have any choice. She was forced to learn growing up. She goes, that's why I see so many things now. And, and she's more sensitive. And she goes, you don't know what it's like to have that, being able to see things that other people can't. She goes, you don't know what it's like to have to live with that. She goes, some people call it a blessing. Some people call it a curse. She's like, I never wanted this. She goes, but it was
Yeah.
forced to.
No, and it sucks, man, because as a kid, I remember I used to see shit all the time. And the only person that believed me was my grandmother.
Yeah.
Anytime I would tell her, hey, this is what I see, or I would tell my parents and they wouldn't believe me. And then I would tell my grandma and she's like, I know. She's like, it's fine. I'll take care of it. And she, and I think that's why we're so close. And I mean, she just turned what, 93? She's 93 or 94. She's 94. She just turned 94 years old. Like, and she's always like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I don't know why the Lord still has me here. And I'm like, well, there's a reason that you're still here. It's not your time to go. And I 100% believe that the reason she's still here is because she helped so many people.
And the tamale recipe.
That, yeah. Well, it's not really a recipe. It's just kind of throwing everything. Yeah. So let's get back to the topic. The Oharai ritual involves several key elements. First, the purification tools. The priest may utilize various purification tools, including a wooden wand called a gohai, which is decorated with strips of white paper or cloth. The gohai symbolizes the presence of the divine and is believed to have purifying properties. I want one. Wonder if I could find one for my cabinet.
Oh Jesus!
So you're just gonna have like a mini war going on in there. Just
I know, right? Like different spiritual entities. It's like
that door is just gonna be shaking like that. Like, y'all cut it out. Don't make me come in there.
I'm like, what the fuck is that Japanese? I don't. What the fuck is going on?
It starts writing in kanji. The other one writes in Spanish.
Oh, you know what? I got a question about that. Okay, let's say there's a somebody visiting from America. They're visiting Japan, and they have they're being attacked by a Japanese spirit. Would a Catholic exorcism have any effect on a Japanese spirit?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it has to do with the beliefs of the culture. So if, let's say, I go to Japan and I come back with a spirit attached to me, I don't think a Catholic priest would be able to get rid of that spirit because it does not acknowledge that power.
Right.
Unless the spirit that attached itself to me, let's say it was a person spirit that, human spirit that attached itself to me was a Christian, then maybe possibly it could work.
Yeah. Okay, but
in my little, very little, extremely little knowledge of all about this, I'm on the side of scuba about like if it doesn't recognize your power or your belief, then it wouldn't work.
But then wouldn't that take away from the Catholic, Jesus is
powerful and all that stuff
above all that, and every demon will bow before Jesus and all this stuff? I mean, doesn't that kind of take away from Jesus' power if you can't get rid of a Japanese demon? I mean,
it does, but do you think they want to have that conversation?
I don't know. I mean, has it been brought up before?
That raises a very interesting point about like theology as a whole, because a lot of people would believe that it's all considered one person that was demonstrated, and then it was translated in so many different ways that it became all these different things. So doing a quick Google search on has Catholic priests ever done exorcism outside the country, the only that pops up is Canada and Mexico.
I don't know. I would like to find out about that. That's something I'll probably have to research on my own. But
I would just think that there's things that are older than Christianity. There are religions that are older than Christianity.
Oh, of course.
And so there are entities and things that exist that would not have any power over. I don't care what you tell us that, oh, this is the only one, this and that. Okay, but at one point in time, that was the only one.
Yeah.
At one point in time, this other one was the only one. At one point in time, people worshipped Odin. Like people worship Zeus. Like it's. I think it has to do with what your mindset is, what you believe in, and what origin the entity comes from.
Yeah, I just think it'd be weird. Let's say you're a vampire from, before Christ's time, and then all of a sudden, lowercase t start burning and stuff, and it's like, okay, what happened? So you got to go figure out, well, what was so significant that all of a sudden these
The first vampire was Judas.
huh?
The
The first
vampire
vampire was Judas.
According to legend.
Kaylee and I were talking about that earlier today.
So it says, do other religions besides Catholicism perform exorcisms? Are Muslims, Jews, or non-Catholic religions able to perform exorcisms? And the short answer is yes. So does that allow for different demonic possessions to be exercised by different religions? It says, well, it's hit or miss.
So that just kind of tells me that there's no one true religion over all of them. You know what I mean?
That's very interesting, though. Like that's a very interesting thing to research on. Has any other religion perform exorcism successfully on somebody else who's a different religion?
Well, if they're saying
I feel like
then yeah, it has happened, but it doesn't always work.
It doesn't mean it's successful, because you got to think too. There's a language barrier.
Exactly, and that's another thing too. Language barrier.
So you could be telling me all this shit, but if I don't know what you're saying, I'm still going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, but they all speak Latin, so
Well, most Catholic demons respond to Latin for some reason, but whatever. All right, whose turn is it for the purification rituals?
I'll go.
All right.
The priest may conduct specific purification rituals, such as the waving of a gohai, other individuals, objects, or spaces, as well as the sprinkling of sacred water. The gohai and water are believed to cleanse and purify by driving away impurities and malevolent forces.
Benjamin.
Symbolic actions may be performed during the Oharai ritual to represent the expulsion of impurities and negative energies. This can include actions like clapping hands, ringing bells, or using a ritual purification wand.
The haregushi.
Yeah, what he said.
We probably butchered the fuck out of that too. They're like, what are they talking about?
I apologize ahead of time for anybody.
So in some cases, the Oharai ritual involves the participation of the community or individuals seeking purification. They may follow specific instructions given by the priest, engage in purification gestures, or recite prayers along with the priest to actively partake in the purification process. The Oharai ritual serves as a means to restore spiritual purity, remove negative influence, and create a sacred space conducive to harmony and well-being. It is performed on various occasions, including the New Year, during shrine festivals, or in response to specific life events or challenges. I know when the rock broke that was holding
a nine-tailed demon.
The nine-tailed demon, they all gathered together and they did a purification ritual. So it's important to note that while Oharai is primarily associated with Shinto, the boundaries between Shinto and other religious practices in Japan, such as Buddhism, are not always distinct. Elements of purification and exorcism can be found in different religious and cultural traditions throughout Japan, demonstrating the syncretic nature of Japanese spirituality. So now we're going to talk about some stuff that freaks me out. Haitian voodoo and Cuban Santeria are both Afro-Caribbean religions that have their roots in African spiritual traditions, combined with elements of Catholicism and other influences. Cleansing rituals are integral. Yeah, in how the fuck integral
Integral.
integral. How the fuck do you say that
Is
word?
it integral or
Parts of
integral?
integral part to of both voodoo and santeria practices aimed at purifying individuals and spaces as well as seeking spiritual protection. Here's an overview of the cleansing practices in Haitian voodoo and Cuban santeria. So let's talk about Haitian voodoo cleansings first. Anthony, hit us with that beautiful French right there.
La tête. I think it's yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Left dead. Left
Love
dead
that.
meaning
Love
hand
that.
washing in Haitian Creole is a common form of cleansing in voodoo. It involves the washing of the head and body with specifically prepared herbal baths in sacred waters, often infused with various herbs, flowers, or spiritual substances. The La Tête ceremony is performed by a hongan or
Hungen. Hungen.
mambo, which back and forth, male priest and female priestess, and is believed to remove negative energies and purify the individual.
Benjamin.
The coucher solye or placing of the shoes is another cleansing ritual in voodoo. Practitioner will place a pair of shoes in front of the individual or a space to be cleansed. Special prayers and invocations are recited to transfer negative energies or spiritual disturbances into the shoes. The shoes are then removed and discarded, symbolically carrying away the impurities.
Not my Jordans.
Right?
Not my Jordans.
Put in the Crocs.
So-
Nobody likes those.
Hey, whoa, sir. I love my Crocs, okay?
I don't. They smell.
So now Cuban Santeria cleansings. They're spiritual baths. Spiritual baths known as baños espirituales
Yeah, give
or
himself the easy one.
lavatorios are fundamental
The ones that we
part
know.
of Santeria cleansing practices. These baths involve the use of herbal mixtures, flowers, and sacred waters often prepared by a santero or santera, priest or priestess. So they're very similar. The baths are performed to cleanse the individual's aura and remove negative energies. Specific herbs and ingredients are selected based on the individual's spiritual needs or the purpose of the cleansing.
I bet one of them is cilantro.
It's oregano. Ooh, I would burn if they put cilantro. I fucking hate cilantro.
For you, does it taste like soap?
It does. I do have that
Do you
gene.
have that gene? Yeah.
I do. It sucks. All right, Anthony.
Let's see. Smoke cleansing. Smoke cleansing using incense or sacred herbs is also practiced in Santeria. The smoke is believed to purify and protect it, and by driving away negative energies or spirits. Common herbs used for smoke cleansing include sage, cedar, or what is that? Palo Santo?
Palo Santo.
I never even heard of Palo Santo.
I use it.
The practitioner may waft the smoke around the individual of a space, reciting prayers or invocations for cleansing and protection.
So when I do cleansings, that's what I use. I either use sage or I use Palo Santo. So what sage does, sage gets rid of negative energy. So if you have, if you just feel like there's something not normal in your house, you can get rid of any negative energy using sage. Palo Santo gets rid of everything. If you want a clean slate, you want to get rid of everything that's there, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter if it's a good spirit, bad spirit, whatever. You want it gone, use Palo Santo and it gives you a clean slate. And whatever you bring into the home now is
On you.
On you. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you follow it up with some fabuloso and you get that really
The
smell.
that deep clean smell.
Yeah. So that's
So
how you know it's disinfected.
Both Haitian voodoo and Cuban Santeria cleansing rituals emphasize the importance of purifying the body, mind, and spirit to restore balance, harmony, and connection with the divine. These practices often incorporate prayers, invocations, and symbolic actions to remove negative influences and create a spiritually cleansed environment. It is worth noting that specific variations and practices can vary between voodoo and Santeria lineages as well as individual practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting indeed. So today, exorcisms continue to capture public fascination, both in religious and secular contexts. The Catholic Church maintains a stringent protocol for exorcisms, requiring trained priests to follow specific guidelines and obtain permission from their bishop. So the priest can't just go and do
Like a rogue exorcism.
exactly. You have to have permission from the church, and it's very rare. They have to have proof. Like there's all these stipulations that have to be met before they're like, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and send somebody out to see if we can do something about it.
Well, they can try.
They can try.
But I mean, you're playing with fire at that point.
Yeah. What was the name of that movie that just came? Oh, the Pope's Exorcist. I don't remember if I talked about it last episode. That is a really good flick.
I haven't seen it yet.
It gets kind of towards the end. Like it's kind of like okay,
It's Russell Crowe, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the father that is in it, we did talk about this because he's actually in the last episode that we talked about. He has tons of books out that you can read, and it's super interesting just listening to him talk about the exorcisms that he did during his time as an exorcist.
One of the things I liked about that movie, because I had spoken to Sandra about it, was I asked her, I was like, has anybody tried getting like a pool or something and just making all that water holy water and then throwing somebody who's possessed in there just to see what'll happen? And then that happened in the movie. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
well, there you go. There's my answer.
Yeah, I think that's just a Hollywood thing, though. I don't know that it would work in real life because there's a lot more than just the holy water that needs to go into it.
Well, yeah, because you put them in the holy water, hold them there for 3 days, and then they come back. That's how it works, right?
No, that's not how that works.
It's like
Dogma.
Dogma when they ask to bless the sink water.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he just dunks his head.
Yeah. That's another movie that I absolutely love. And I remember we were told by our priest to not watch that movie because it was sacrilegious.
No, dude. You know what's hilarious? I am a third degree knight of Columbus. Okay,
Mhm.
and the chaplain who was in charge of our consul over in North Carolina, that was one of his favorite movies because it's a great.
It's just so it's so ridiculous,
It's a great
but
flick,
it's
and it
great.
teaches you so much about certain aspects of like how Catholicisms are looked at in both ways, in the ways that you're just supposed to have faith, and the other part to where a lot of them is just like corruption.
Yeah. And I feel like we were put here to question. And while yes, we need to have faith, I feel like the biggest reason that we're here is to question everything. Because if you just take somebody's word for it, you're not living your life. You're not doing what you were sent here to do. And that movie made me question so many different things.
Oh yeah.
Like, and while it is a comedy and it is completely sacrilegious movie, it's still one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah, I remember going to church, and during the father's I forgot what it's called, where like he spends like 30 minutes just talking, like whatever. I forgot the part of that church part was. He took out a picture of uh not laughing Jesus, but
Buddy Christ.
Yeah, Buddy Christ. He took a picture of Buddy Christ and it was like, what's wrong with this? Nothing's wrong with this. Why are people so afraid of looking at Jesus as someone who had a sense of humor, as someone who laughed? It's like, you think Jesus was like walking around always just all like, oh, woe is me? Like no, I'm like, it's ridiculous to believe that people were getting up in arms about something as seeing a picture of him just smiling.
Yo, dude, yeah, and I love the whole Buddy Christ, like the look of it, like and it's true. Like, why does he have to be this sad figure or serious figure? You don't think that the man laughed?
Yeah.
You don't think that he probably played jokes on people, and Chris Rock's character made me question a lot about
Yeah.
the Bible
Oh,
itself
Rufus.
because yes, because we don't know what they took out,
Right. Right.
you know, and we don't know, the texts have changed so much from the original concept that things have changed a lot
Yeah.
from just the last 100 years to the version of the Bible that we have now. If you read a version of the Bible from 100 years ago, some of the things it says are completely different from what we read now.
Yeah.
So who's to say? I mean, I know we know for a fact that, you know, because there's other versions of the Bible that exist. Who knows what the Vatican has locked down below versions of the Bible that existed, and they're like, nope, no, we got to take that out. Let's go ahead and put a new version out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I don't trust um, any religion. It's too easy for men to become corrupt.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's
the
why
only religion that's like it then makes sense is Rastafarian. There's the only one that makes sense. You just like be one with nature, man. Just you just chill out and be one
Yeah,
with nature,
just
dude.
chill. Yeah, and I mean, and I feel like it's like Christianity, man. Like, you know, we have the Ten Commandments, and you're not supposed to do this, this, and this. But there was a whole war fought for this thing that involved murder and raping and pillaging and all this horrible shit that the Bible clearly says you're not supposed to do this stuff. So did all those people go to heaven? Like, all the bad things that they did, like that's not cool. That doesn't sit well with me. But that's why I say I feel like we're here to question, because if you take it at face value, you're not doing what you were sent here to do. And I always tell people, you know, and this is just me, and I could be wrong when I die, and if I pay for the way that I thought, then hey, I mean, that's on me. There's nothing I can do about it. But I feel like God made us in His image, so we look like God, not exactly, but we're in His image or her image. Um, but He gave me my individuality. He knew when He molded me that, hey, this is the creation I'm setting forth. Now the decision part is on Him. He's going to decide whether He wants to be a good person or a piece of shit. But I've just always felt like I don't need to go to church to talk to another human being about what I did wrong, when I can just confess to God because He's
right.
watching at all
Mhm,
times.
right.
You know, so that was my biggest thing with Catholicism, is that I just feel like, you know, there's just too much wrong with it. All religions, because I've tried other religions, and the one thing that I can say every religion has that's the same is hypocrisy.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that within the Christianity religion, because I've never tried anything outside of Christianity, but
The different
every
flavors.
single,
Yeah.
yeah, everything is, they all say the same shit, just a little bit different, but then they all talk shit about the other religions that are pretty much the same shit. And so it's like, I don't religion's man-made. If I'm gonna talk to God, I'm gonna talk to God. Like,
Hey,
He made me this way. He knows what, what
that's
we need to talk about.
pretty much word for word what I say about it. When people try to invite me to their church and all that, it's like, first off, I've never felt at home at any church. And, I went to Bay Area for years, and that was like the closest I had to, a church that I could say was my home church, but I never really felt like completely comfortable there. It was the times where I always felt closest to God was out in nature, when I'm walking in the woods and, had my feet in the grass, and or in the ocean, where you could feel the pulse of the world through the ocean. Those are the times that I feel closest to God. It's not in a man-made structure surrounded by people who are probably judging me because I'm not wearing the right shoes, or the right clothes or whatever. Um, I just need to be around God's creation, which is nature. And I don't know. Like I said, that's just me. Some people do need that structure and that order and that repetition.
Which is fine.
Yeah, yeah,
To each their own. I'm not shitting on anybody, saying that your religion's wrong or anything like that. I'm just saying how I feel, and this is on me, and if I'm, like I said, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna pay for it. But I can honestly say that so far in my life, I've done pretty good in this life in, you know, trying to do good shit. You know,
Well, why don't you start your own religion?
nah, I'm good.
Scubaism.
Nah, I'm good. I'm
It's
good.
too much
I don't need
pressure,
nobody
man.
worshiping me.
That's way too
Way
much
too much
pressure.
pressure. Oh shit, Brody Kane,
Brody,
how's it going, buddy? How's it going, Brody? Jonathan, shout out Jonathan. What's up, Steve? Steve from it's one of my boys right there from the old neighborhood. How's it going, Papa? So, however, it's crucial to approach the topic of exorcism with a critical mindset. Many alleged cases of possession can be attributed to psychological or medical conditions, and modern psychiatry offers alternative explanations for what was once considered supernatural. They put people on meds, they get fixed. If they don't, they try a different med. So, there you have it, dear listeners and viewers. The enthralling history of exorcisms in two parts of somewhat supernatural. If you guys want to watch the part one, it is available here on YouTube. Just go to Project Louder, click on live. You'll find the video there. I have not uploaded it to Spotify yet, but I will be doing that sometime either later this week or next week. Um, So, whether one sees it as a manifestation of the spiritual realm or a product of human psyche, the allure of exorcisms continue to captivate our imagination. Guys, thank you for joining me on this supernatural odyssey. Guys, do you have any socials you want to give out?
Anthony.
well, you can find the show 50 States of Terror on Facebook and Instagram at 50 States of Terror. You can find the show on Twitter, 50 States Terror, without the of, because of the character
There's
limitation.
a character limitation.
You can find the show on TikTok at 50 SOT Podcast. You can find us pretty much anywhere on whatever you choose to stream podcasts. Thank you all for having me on the show.
Of course. You can
Benjamin.
you can find me for whatever reason that you want to at I am Ben De Leon on all the socials. You can follow my podcast, the Recycled Corn Podcast, on all the socials as well. Yeah, I guess that's it.
All right. And you guys know where to find me. You can find me everywhere. If you're watching the show, you already have me on Facebook. If you want to add me on Instagram, I am at host with the ghosts. On TikTok, I am Lord_Scubacabra. So until next time, remember, keep your minds open to the unexplained and your spirits lifted. Thank you for listening and watching.